Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mad PD. I'm Nancy Angevine Sands from With Equal Step, and today we're going to talk about engaging families in student learning. So let's get started, I hope. And there we go. I hope this works. So as I said, I'm from With Equal Step. I'm a former teacher, but for the last number of years, I have been working with staff and students and board advisory groups, looking at how we can engage families in student learning and engage families in the system. If you have any questions afterwards and you want to contact me, you can get me at withequalstep.com or on my Twitter account at withequalstep. I also have a website, but it's under repair right now, so hopefully it'll be up soon. And I'm sorry, my email is withequalstep@gmail.com. So let's get started. I saw this on Aunt Ed's Special Needs the other day, and I thought it was great for what we're talking about today. Collaboration is not about gluing together existing egos. It's about the ideas that never existed until after everyone entered the room. So the standards for family engagement are pretty simple. It's a shared responsibility that's continuous across a child's life, and we find it in all of the multiple settings where children learn. All of the research around the world comes up with the same benefits. We have improved student achievement, reduced absenteeism, better behavior, and most important, restored confidence in parents and their schools. And surprisingly, teacher retention improves. But quite often what we do is not engagement, it's contact. So let's look for a second at what the difference is. Engagement is planned, it's linked to learning, and it's an achievement, and it spans over a period of times, and it's systemic within the classroom, within the school, and within the school board. Parent contact happens as it's needed, and it's sometimes accidental, like when you talk to a parent when they drop a kid off at school, or you need somebody to come along on a field trip, or you have to talk to a parent because their child is misbehaving. What I want to work on with you today is how to move your practice from contact to engagement. Dr. Janet Goodall is a wonderful researcher out of the University of Bath in England, and she says what I'm suggesting is a move from having parents help the school to a recognition of more equal partnership where everyone helps the child. I think this is stunning. 55% of a child's life is spent away from school, and only 12% is spent in the classroom. So if we take this graph, if we're not engaging our parents in their kids' learning, we're missing huge opportunities. Dr. Karen Mapp at Harvard University has 4 core beliefs about family engagement. That all parents have dreams for their kids, all parents have the capacity to support their child's learning, that parents and school staff should be equal partners, and that the responsibility for building partnerships between home and school rests primarily with the school staff. Now, I suspect you're no different from a lot of parents and educators that, when I show this to, they have a few questions about a couple of these. And the main one they have questions about is number 2, that all parents have the capacity, and number 4, that it should be led from the school. So let's delve a little deeper into it. I think the first one, all parents have dreams for their kids. I think that we can recognize that and accept it. And when we accept it, it's the first building block to building those strong homeschool partnerships. The second one, that all parents have the capacity to support learning. What I'm talking about is capacity. Everybody is able to learn how to support learning. They may not have the capability to do it, and that's where we come in as educators, or if you are a parent leader and a school council leader or a PTA leader, that's part of your role. And we have to remember, as Dr. Mapp says, all families, regardless of their race, ethnic identity, educational background, gender, disability, they all have the ability to engage in partnerships. So when I talk about building the capabilities of families, I'm talking about helping them to understand their role as teacher. And we have to remember that all of our students, their first teacher was their parent. We want to help them build their confidence to do this work, to keep the learning that happened in the classroom going in the home. So we have to find ways to build their skills, to provide them with resources, and to give them actions that they can take. And we need to have invitations and support to our parents to come into the school, to partner with the school around learning. The third one is that all parents are equal partners with the schools in family engagement. Just remember, equal is not the same, all right? What Dr. Mapp means by this is that everyone has something to offer. Dr. Sarah Lawrence Lightfoot talks about the teacher's student and the parent's child. This is the same person, but we come at it from different ends. Every person has something positive to offer to the relationship. We have, as Dr. Pusher in Saskatchewan says, we have parent knowledge and we have teacher expertise. And the fourth one, that engagement begins with the school. This is because it's much easier for a school to reach out to its community than for the community to reach into the school. And when we reach out to our community, we are creating a collaborative culture. So Dr. Steve Constantino, and he is in the state of Virginia, superintendent of education. He says that parents engage with the information, organization, or situation that is meaningful and relevant to them. And I like to point this out because I always hear about the hard to reach parent. Well, maybe the parent isn't hard to reach. Maybe it's the school that's hard to reach. Maybe what we're giving them and what we're asking of them isn't relevant to them. So when you want to engage your parents, start thinking, is what I'm offering them meaningful to them? Is it relevant to them? And if we go to student learning, as if we keep our eye on that ball, then we are going to get closer to hitting this mark. He also says that the degree to which families are empowered by the school is a determining factor in student achievement. So how do we empower our families? Every single one of you has had professional development on an ongoing basis. But when was the last time we did professional development for our families? I think we need to start. I think we need to start teaching them about education and the ways it's happening and the ideas that are going on in our profession. And I think it's not just telling them about it, it's about listening to them. It's about engaging them in conversations and engaging them in the work. The objectives of what I call PD for families is to build that capacity of our families to engage in learning, not engage with the school, that comes later, but to engage in learning and to establish a systemic process for the school and family partnerships to do their work. And I suggest that the best way to start is to align that work with a school improvement plan. So how do we do it? Well, one way we can do what I call the I do, you do, we do workshops. This is where we build the capacity of our families to engage learning at home. We can have workshops where the families come into the school and they learn a particular skill set. So let's talk about math. Say you're working on division with your class. Well, you offer a workshop for the parents where you model what the kids are doing in the classroom and what they're learning. You have the parents do some of the work that they're doing so they understand it. We learn by doing, and then you send them home with tools so that they can do it at home. It's best if you have them at home, I mean, in the school doing it, but we'll look a little bit later at other things that other ways that you can pass that information on. At the middle and high school level, it's a little bit different. We don't want to necessarily be teaching them exactly what the kids are learning in school, but we can teach them how to build a supportive learning environment at home. We can look at pathways. We can look at transitions. We can teach our parents to about things like how the kids are assessed and evaluated. A great thing in Canada is myblueprint.ca, where students start to build their options, build the courses that they're taking, teaching parents to do what I call plan backwards. Uh, to look at where what's the student wants to do post-secondary and what courses are they going to have to take in 12, 11, 10, 9. Start to plan backwards for what you're doing. When parents understand that, they're better able to support their children at home when they're going through the the trouble of finding options and figuring out where they want to go after school. It's about homework and it's about building better communication with between home and school. So, engagement in social media. So often we rely on our social media as a way of connecting and engaging with our schools. It can be used for engagement, but be very, very careful that it's not just contact. It's a great way to contact the parents, not just with bad news, but with good news, with ongoing news. But this is what we're doing in the classroom. This is what we're doing this week, this month. But I urge you to remember that a dialogue is not a monologue. So when you are using social media to reach out to your families, remember to create methods where you can hear back from the parents and then take what you're hearing from them and let them see it reflected in future work that you're doing or future contact that you're making with them. In schools that have a high immigrant population, look into translation services. Some boards offer translation services, but all communities of a good size should have places where you could get translation services. And don't forget to work with your school council or your PTA or parent group around this, reaching out to them. What's the best way to talk to the parents? How can I do it? How can I find translation services? And of course, I'm sure you can think of a lot more than I have, but we have Facebook, Twitter, Skype, blogs, webinars, podcasts. Make communication an important part of your engagement process because when we dialogue, the more we communicate. You can use Twitter for announcements, ideas of learning at home, class events, or things that are happening in school, students' successes, conversations. Uh, Peter Cameron uses great stuff. He's always tweeting about what's happening in the classroom. There's lots of teachers that do that. Just sending out things. This is what we did in the classroom. Really engage so the parents can see what their kids are doing and can understand what their day is like. Facebook is a great place to share articles, to engage with parents and what they think, to advertise class events. Just remember that you always have to monitor it on a regular basis so that if anything goes up there that's inappropriate, you can take it down. And then a class website or a school website to post assignments, information on evaluation, for the parents to help their kids study is always helpful. So in our engagement, what we're trying to do is to build the capabilities of our parents, to make connections that are meaningful and relevant between our classroom and our kids' homes, to listen and learn about the beliefs of our parents, and to build the confidence of our families and our staff for engagement, and to bring respect for what each party brings to the table. And I'll end with Dr. Karen Mack. She says, as a result of the enhanced capacity on the part of families, schools are able to cultivate and sustain active, respectful, and effective partnerships with families that foster school improvement, link to educational objectives, and support children's learning and development. And isn't that what we're here for? So I'm trying to get back to where I was. Thanks. Here we are. So that's my there we are. This is really too much for me sometimes. All right, so that's my presentation for today. I hope that it was helpful, and I encourage you to start slow. Start with communication. Communicate, communicate, communicate with your parents and your families, and let them know what's happening. Listen back for what they're telling you about what the kids are learning, what they're struggling with, what they're enjoying, use that to build your next step of teaching, and good luck, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm not sure if you can add questions here or whether you have to join up. But if you have any questions, just write me at with equal step at gmail.com. Thanks. Bye.